I was cleaning toilets in my acting studio to afford to go and participate in acting classes. Just every stereotypical thing that can happen to a black kid happened to me. Mother was on drugs, never knew my dad, slept in the streets. I mean, some of the stuff I seen, I saw people get killed in front of me, robbed. We used to eat out of trash cans. Just my childhood set me up to fail. And acting was just, it was the way to dive in and deal with a lot of these complex emotions. Honestly, it starts with, the name of my motivational speaking program, From the Streets to the Stage. It's literally talking about how you make it from the streets of your fears, both figuratively and literally for me, to the stage of your dreams. Also, both figurative and literally. So, just every stereotypical thing that can happen to a black kid happened to me. Mother was on drugs, never knew my dad, slept in the streets. I was in foster homes where I was abused. I was in so many group homes I can't even count. Um, Special ed classes till 8th grade. I mean, some of the stuff I saw people get killed in front of me, robbed. We used to eat out of trash cans. I have this in high school. One of my teammates when I used to play basketball used to laugh at me all the time. They're like, "Oh, Monty loves ketchup. He loves ketchup." Because I used to carry like a little, those little ketchup packages in my pocket, and they'd always be like, "Man, you ain't never got ketchup. You need ketchup. Hit up Monty." And at the time in high school, I was ashamed to really share where I came from, like in depth. But I kept that package of ketchup because when I was poor, with me and my younger brothers, we had no food. So we go to convenience stores like 7-Elevens and stuff and go in the condiment section and we would take the packages of ketchup and whatnot and we eat it. Or if we're lucky, go get find some bread. Like back in the day, I'm almost 40. So a loaf of bread was like $1.50. So we get a loaf of bread and we have a ketchup sandwich. So I carry that package of ketchup to always remind myself to like where you came from and be humble because this is all you used to have. So fast forward a little bit after going through all those abusive times, even like going through depression, because I was locked in a room for 23 hours a day and I tried to commit suicide. So I'm a big advocate for mental health because having these courageous conversations, I like to say, really helps kind of get out of some of this stuff. And one of the things I always say is we don't look like our story. That's one of my big messages because people look at me, they have no idea I've come from that. The way I carry myself, the way I interact with other people, but we don't look like our story. Everybody has some, excuse my language, I can blurt this out, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but everybody got some shit that they've been through, but we don't necessarily wear it. So by the time I got to high school, I got out of those foster homes and group homes, some of the bad situations. I had to make a decision. I was like, I'm gonna age out the system 18, and I turned 18 right before the start of senior year. So I had to live by myself. So I was like, this is gonna be the first time in my life I have a normal home where I'm not being abused, where we're not living on the streets. I mean, we're talking about living in crack houses, sleeping in parks. I slept in vans, so many car stories where I slept in, right? Which, funny, side note, me, Tupac, Dr. Phil, and Colonel Sanders, we all have the same thing because we all slept in cars when we were kids. So that's like the company I'm trying to keep. But yeah, by the time I got into high school, that's when I got into sports and arts. I started doing spoken word poetry, started writing to express myself because I had a lot of anger issues, a lot of rage. So I had behavioral issues. I was on medication for behavioral issues. That's why I was in special ed classes. And then I found basketball and the arts to kind of focus on that. And then, graduated school, went to college, got 2 college degrees. Started speaking a little bit, just a little bit here and there, because I got a little less shameful about where I came from. And basketball I love, but I was always an actor. I was always an entertainer. Like I was the only dude, like jock, doing plays. I'm like doing Good Man Charlie Brown. What was it with Atticus Finch, To Kill a Mockingbird? Like I'm doing all these plays with the theater geeks. I'm the big man on campus. I'm like an all-state player and stuff. So really finding the entertainment really helped me. Now between then and now, we've had some stumbles that I'm sure we can get into, but just my childhood set me up to fail. Like the one thing I really get annoyed with is when people like, well, if you can do it, they can do it. It's not the same. Like I'm the exception to the rule. Like people who come from where I come from, and it's not making excuses. You still got to kind of pull yourself out. But I've had little helps along the way. I had talent in basketball that elevated me. So when I played club ball, y'all parents would pay for me because I couldn't afford it, but I was so damn good. So I got to have these experiences to get out the hood to see more. Because when you're in one spot, you have no idea what the rest of the world is like because everybody in your world is at that same level. So traveling and getting these opportunities because I was a good athlete. And then I get the cool black guy card, so wherever I go, I can move in different areas because I know how to move. Not
I feel
everybody can
that.
do that, right? It's a
Yes.
it's a real
It's a
thing.
real thing.
So long story short, doing all that stuff, it kind of led me here um, to my speaking and to my acting, which I'm blessed to say I make a living off of. My speaking and consulting business. When I'm not doing that, I'm on set. In fact, I'm here right now shooting one of my Tyler Perry shows. Literally, I was filming late last night. So like, I have to remind myself like, yo, you live in a dream. Coming from that, and even after college, sleeping in a men's homeless shelter, being so broke you can't afford acting classes. So I had to clean my acting classes. I was cleaning toilets in my acting studio to afford to go and participate in acting classes. So yeah, so I just say, we don't look like our story, and you want some stuff in life, man, you got to go get it. So that's just a little bit of my story because we can take hours for that, but that's just
No, I
some
love
cliff
that.
notes.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing
yeah.
that. Thank you for opening up and,
Yeah, for
and
being
being
vulnerable.
That's right. I want to talk about acting. You said you found arts and sports in high school. What did acting look like for you? I don't just mean like Shakespeare reading in class, but when you found that character or where you were able to express yourself through being another self, what did that look like and where was that?
Oh man, honestly, at the time I didn't know. I just like entertaining. I like doing that.
Yeah.
But also I think when I now looking into it, why I've become so successful, I always wanted to escape my reality.
Mhm.
My reality sucked as a kid. And even as a teenager, even, just feeling like even as a foster kid, my last foster parents, they was cool people. My foster dad was cool, but the foster mom, she made it very clear who's the kids and who's the foster kids. So when
Right.
you're dealing with that, so it wasn't nowhere near the abuse I suffered. I don't want to mischaracterize. It wasn't like that, but it was definitely you felt more like a nephew than a son. You know what I'm saying? It was very obvious, like, oh, this is my kid. You on another level. So I never really had that family connection. So I always wanted to escape my reality. And basketball turned into a whole nother person. That was a way to kind of do that. And then particularly with acting, just diving into the character. And also there's a feeling of accomplishment when you like learn these lines, when you finally make it to, rehearsals, then when you finally make it to the premiere. It's yeah, if I look at it now deeper as I've gained a great understanding for myself and why I chose acting, why God in the universe put that in me, because I've always needed an escape from my reality. And acting was just it was the way to dive in and deal with a lot of these complex emotions and stuff, especially as young men and especially a young black man. Like it's either sadness or rage. There's no nuance. So in acting, I got to explore all those nuances. So it was therapeutic and just fun. I loved it, man. I love the performance. It's so hard, and you can never
Yeah.
master it. So I just love it.
As a bit of a personal question, you've experienced some hardship with family growing up. So what has it meant to you to now get to build your own family and create that environment in the way that you want?
Oh my God, it's healing. So the problem is these cycles, right? So I don't know who gave this quote. I want to give her props. She's a female baker from Brooklyn. I was watching a show. I take inspiration from everywhere. I take inspiration from everywhere. I believe as a creative, I she was I don't know if she was Dominican or Puerto Rican, but she's Latin. And she said a lot of my family's locked up. A similar story. And she said, "I'm not a cycle breaker. I'm a cycle creator." Because I want to be a cycle breaker. I was like, that's too much on your shoulders. My
Yeah.
whole family, even now, the majority, I'm gonna keep it 100. If we're gonna keep it real on this, if we're gonna share it, my little brother just went back into prison. So he was locked up for 8 years. He kind of fell into the stereotype. He fell into the trap that was set for us coming from that environment. Luckily, I was able to avoid those pitfalls and traps. But he was good. He was out for a few years, and then he needed money. He went back to his old ways. So literally, and I'm just keeping it 100. I don't. Anybody out there, you can put your family business out there if you want, or you can't. My little brother, he knows I share it. I'm like, you got to be a warning sign. If you're not gonna be an inspiration, to people, you need to be a warning. So I actually spoke to him 2 days ago, and his birthday's coming. He's like, I can't believe I'm spending my birthday in here. I'm like, listen, you had a second chances. What are you gonna do now? So I called, put some money on his books. If you guys don't know what money's on somebody's books, good for you. That's basically when you got family in jail and you gotta send them money so they can buy basic stuff like soap and underwear and shoes and stuff. So seeing my little brother, and I think I'm a phenomenal role model. I'm like, but you still doing that. When you talk about family, you are the support, you're not the solution. I've been a pristine role model. My little brothers, I do so much for them. Now I have a family, it's about my family, but before then, that's what it's about. And I tell anybody, like, you can't change your entire family. all you can do is start a new cycle. So when I heard her say that, I was like, I've been putting so much pressure on my shoulder to break this cycle, break this cycle. I'm like, that's too much because it's just a continuance. I'm starting a whole new cycle. You know what I'm saying? It's like Marvel. This is the multiverse. This timeline,
Yes,
my
sir.
family is jacked up, yo.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
messed
sir.
up. I'm gonna start a new timeline over here, and it's gonna start with me. And I'm setting the like this. This is the precedent. I'm like,
Yes, sir.
you're going from here. So my kids, I'm a happy father of twins, which is super dope. My boy and girl, they're so dope. They wild, man. Kids, yo,
Wow,
just
that's
take your
amazing.
time.
Beautiful.
Take your time. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful struggle, bro. It's a beautiful
Yes, sir.
struggle. Yo.
Yes, sir.
but now to get back to your question, now having that, it's everything. It's everything. And there's a lot of dudes who perpetuate the cycle, so they're not in their kids' life because maybe their parents weren't in their life, and et cetera. And for me, I always put this out there because I'm a big advocate for men's mental health, particularly because it's always kind of scraped under the rug, just the world. We benefit from being in a male-dominated society, but when it comes to the vulnerability and the stuff, society kind of pushes us to the side. So I'm a big advocate for male mental health. And one thing I tell a few of my friends who are about to have kids, and a couple of my friends who are no longer my friends because they ain't in any kid's life, and I don't rock with that. It's cathartic and therapeutic. You can't heal. I don't know my dad, my mother. We building our relationship, but my childhood was destroyed. I can't go back to that. So now all I can do now, it's not just giving your kids what you didn't have. It's creating a lifestyle for your kids. So it's so removed from what you experienced. So for me, that's the greatest motivation. And I tell people like, yo, being your kid's life, even if it's rough, it's healing. My little boy, oh my God, I don't have my baby pictures. I don't know what the hell I looked like when I was a kid. But I look at my son. When I smile big, my eyes squint. I'm like, yo, how did you take my smile, dog? How do you have my energy, my whole vibe? Like my wife created a clone, yo. Like, but it's so good to see because it's like, damn, this little guy's watching every move I make, and I'm either gonna be this absent force to where it's always gonna be a part of him that's missing, and he's always gonna be yearning for something, or he's gonna be like, yo, my dad set the bar high. I know I might put a little too much pressure on my kids, but I prefer you put too much pressure and create a level and a bar that they have to live up to while loving them through that,
Right.
Sir.
than the opposite of not being there or being a half-ass parent, which I know a lot of people to be. And it's just like, yeah, my life ain't for me no more. It's for my family. It's 100%. Like, I'm here filming. I'm about to go get me a oat milk latte, triple shot after this, read my book. That's for me. The moment I get home, I'm in daddy mode. I'm in go mode. I do everything. I change diapers. I wake up. I take my kids. I'm active. And that's what my kids are going to remember. So when I pass this out, all they're going to know is, hey, I never not remember my dad not being there. And I think that's my only purpose, you know?
Beautiful. Yes, sir. I think that's fantastic. And as I said to you, my dad's in education. He runs schools. And I remember at a very young age, I asked him, there were all these buildings around that had, Jefferson High, whatever. And I was like, Dad, do you want your name on one of these buildings someday? And he's like, Tay, we don't build edifices, we build
Mm.
systems.
Mm.
Now, he grew up in a different forum when it came to education, and he brought access to a whole bunch of kids in New York and Nashville and a
Hey,
bunch of
that's
different
what's up.
cities that, may not have had that otherwise. And that's been a huge part of not only this podcast, but our journey as a whole is giving that back because I'm privileged enough to be at this table, but I know there are a lot of people who don't look like me that aren't.
Facts.
So I want to ask you a question regarding building this educational edifice that's so much more than a building. What are you hoping to build here in this world? When you leave this world, and you may not think about legacy, but when you think about your little boy and little girl, what is that you're leaving behind and leaving for the next gen?
Man, equal opportunity. Just equal opportunity. Like whether it's through my speaking or whether it's, partnering with other organizations. I just want people who have nothing just to have the opportunity that if you apply yourself and you dedicate yourself and you commit yourself, that you can have more than you were given. There's this cat, I wish I had his name. He's an economist. He's out of the UK. He's such a passionate dude. He's a multimillionaire, but he comes from like a less than working class family. And he's so adamant about like, the reality is most people, all his friends he grew up with, he's the only one that kind of got out of the slums, or they call it the, in the UK, what do they call it? We call it the projects here. They call it the council flats out there, right? So he's the only one who got out. And he realized, he's like, all of my friends, no one was more successful than their father. everyone kind of taps out based off of what you're exposed to, based off your environment. So having access, just giving people access and equal opportunity, that changes everything. Just me being good enough in basketball to be on these really profitable AAU teams. Like I was playing with one of my boys for his 17th birthday. He got an H2. Yo, I'm 38. The H2 was the back in the day. The Hummer 2? Yo, at 17, NBA players was pulling up with the H2. My boy at 17 got that for his birthday. Yo, that blew my mind. But his parents, they knew my situation, so they would always pay my AAU fees and everything. They paid for me to go to a basketball camp, the whole thing. I'm like, yo, I couldn't afford to go to this camp. So just me being exposed, somebody giving me that opportunity, it changed my worldview. So for me, that's the legacy. I just want people to have an equal opportunity because I didn't have those equal opportunities. I had a couple little benefits here and there, and I applied myself. But I just think in life, I want people to just get the opportunity to become the best version of yourself, have the best life. And a lot of people just don't get the opportunity to do it. And I think that's like a grave injustice in this world. So if I can help do something with that, just access, just give you an opportunity to do what you want. If you choose to be mediocre, admit that's on you, but that's your choice. Some people, no matter what they do, it's a cap.
We have a little bit of a different set today. We're here at BM Franklin, fantastic haberdashery that makes the most beautiful bespoke hats as well as off the rack. And right now I'm wearing one right here. We got a little bit of a hide going, and come on down, Buckhead Village. It's fantastic.
Website linked in the description.
That's right, guys.
For someone who might be struggling right now, who might feel like they have nothing going for them, who doesn't have this opportunity, what advice might you have?
People, I forgot. I watch a lot of stuff. I ingest a lot of stuff, so it's hard. I need to remember it so I give people their props. But I just remember one of my OG motivational speakers. I don't know if it was Les Brown or Jim Rohn, but he was like, the secret to helping is you look at somebody. When somebody's just on the ground, you even look at somebody, a homeless beggar, whatever you want to call them. If they're just laying there asking, almost people go over. If you see somebody crawling and struggling to do something, we're more likely to help people who are likely to help themselves. So if you don't have all those opportunities, that's what happened to me. I had a lot of people reach their hand out because it was like, dang, you come from nothing, yet I see you trying. I'm busting my butt. Yeah, I was behind my chemistry teacher in high school, Miss Morale, Filipino cat. I hope I run into this dude one day. I hated him in high school. He graduated Yale. He had a perfect ACT score, perfect SAT score. He graduated Yale in organic chemistry. Why? Because it was the hardest thing to get your degree in. And he came to the school in the hood, the high school he was at. It was like a Hispanic hood. It's called Tolleson. And I was like, why are you here, bro? He was like, oh, he won like NCAA swim and all that stuff. He's all this. And I was just like, man, I don't get this stuff. I'm not good. I'm a creative. I don't do numbers. Numbers ain't creative. It's very finite. Yeah. It's 2 + 2 equals, no, 2 + 2 might equal 5 in my book. You know what I'm saying? And so he just opened it up and he was like, listen, as long as you try, I will not fail you. He's like, I'm not going to fail you. I don't care. So I just stay for tutoring all the time. Every single day after school, I stay for tutoring. I stay for tutoring. And man, at my best, I got a D, but he made sure I passed because he saw the effort. And I realized along the way, no matter where you come from, in fact, it can be a superpower. If you allow, and I'm not talking about pity. I'm not talking about asking for pity. But if you're honest about, listen, I ain't got this, I ain't got that, I ain't got that. But I'm willing to work. Same thing with my acting. I got 2 college degrees, but I moved to LA. I was like, I can't use my degrees because I won't have time to pursue my love. So I had to do little jobs. I couldn't pay $300 for acting class. My teacher was like, no, we can't do that. And I'm begged. I'm like, what do I have to do? All right, we have these things, do parking. Okay, clean out the class when it's over. And that's how I found my way. And so then after that, my teacher was just like, just show up and do your best. You ain't got to clean no more. So now I'm getting to do this because they saw me putting in the effort. If you, and I hate this, I hate saying this because it gets taken out of context, but you cannot adopt a victim mentality. Now, some people are genuinely victims, and that's a real thing. But if you know things are just hard, victim mentality does not motivate people to help you. It doesn't. So to answer your question more directly, do everything you can with what you have. People take notice. my motivational speaking took off because I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I didn't know how. I had no money to go to these conferences. So I went to the free conferences. I took a 3-hour bus ride from the Valley in LA to Santa Monica, where they always had these big conferences. And, I went to a thrift store, got my little whatever. I wanted it so bad. And people could see. And I met my mentor, who was a bigger speaker and stuff. People saw me grinding. They saw me not giving up. So they're more willing to. So if you don't have anything, people will take notice. People are inspired by people who bust their ass.
Yeah.
You're not inspired by somebody, you're more inspired by the dude who had to grind to get to the league, to the NBA and all that stuff, than LeBron. I love LeBron. He's my GOAT. And I respect him. But when I hear like, oh man, you had to go through all these different times and you finally made it to NBA after this long time, that's a human thing. So as long as you're busting your butt, as long as you're trying and people see you're doing your best, people will help you. I do not care. People will help you. They will see, dang, I see you getting it. I see you grinding. I see y'all grinding. I'm here. You know how many requests and stuff I get from I get a lot. And I'm just like.
It truly means the world to
No,
us.
but it's because y'all up and coming.
I
y'all-
texted you way too much.
Yeah, no. But that's what it takes. Anybody who's ever collaborated with me or got me to do something, it's because I saw the persistence. I got a lot of stuff, so my time, especially being a dad of twins,
Yes, sir.
and being the sole provider for my family. Honestly, if it ain't about my family or making money to support my family, I don't have much time for it. But when I see people who are persistent, I'm like, all right, listen, I'm tired. I got a few hours of sleep, but I'm gonna get up early. I'm gonna get up early and I'm gonna do this because I see the grind. And that's what I'm just a true believer. So if you don't have much and you can't do this, people will not, I swear to God, people will not let you down. You'll have people that just be like, hey, he ain't giving up. He ain't taking no for an answer. Always help. And that's what sometimes we just give up too soon. That's all it is. Sometimes
That's
we just
incredible.
give up too soon.
And that story reminds me of something a mentor told me, which was to do anything meaningful, you do need luck and opportunity. You absolutely do.
Facts.
But he also told me that it is also important to do everything you can to increase your surface area for luck and opportunity.
Oh,
And that right there totally changed my perspective on it. And your story reminded me of that.
And that's Kerry Washington, one of my celebrity crushes, and I hope I get to work with her one day. I ran into her at the Grove, which is like Lenox Mall. It's like an outdoor mall up in LA. And I was like, yo, I had my little Grove, and I was like, I want to let you know I'm a fan. I just left. I was a bit nervous.
Yeah.
But she said she was remarking and acting. She was like, there's a bus. Remarking on what you said about luck and opportunity. There's this bus. You don't know when it's going to get there. You don't know when it's going to arrive. And it may not stop for you. But if you show up to that damn bus stop every single day, and if you're constantly running, you just give yourself a greater chance to jump on that bus. And I'm a true believer on that luck and opportunity. It's just like, I'm going to do so much with intention, not just to do it, but I'm doing it with intention. I'm focused on what I'm doing. And even now, I had a big, it's sensitive because I just got over it. So I booked the biggest movie of my life that I had to give up because I'm filming.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the acting industry and stuff, they call it first position. If you're blessed enough to be a series regular like me, the contract is first position. So as long as you're on the show, if you have anything that interferes with the show comes first. That's what you sign contract. So I booked this Amazon movie. When I tell you I fought for this, they did everything. I made them, they weren't able to say no. They wanted a celebrity, they wanted an NBA player, and I just kept going. And I booked it. Fortunately, I had to give it up, but I booked it. I got over this hump for the last 4 years. I've been on this role of getting so close to these major, major roles. And I finally did it. And when you talk about luck and opportunity, the casting director, she's been auditioning me for 5 years. First 2 years, I just wasn't ready for the big roles. I wasn't as confident as I needed to be, and my skill wasn't up to date. Now my skill and my confidence, I know I'm a leading man. I know what I can do. There's no doubts about that. And then in the last 3 years, I just didn't have the big name. She put me up for so much. And she was just like, I'm so glad you got this. She's like, I've been fighting for you. Because she knows, she's seen me over the years improve. She saw me when my confidence was a little shaken. I was like, oh, the moment was too big for me. Now, she knows, okay, Monty, I'm going to do this. Be ready for the director session. So that opportunity and that luck, I was just so consistent and growing that now I finally booked that big thing. But then also, that movie was supposed to be shot in 2023, but you had strikes. I wouldn't have gotten it. So the fact that all these other things happened, and then it came to me when I was actually ready. I was actually ready because I was, oh yeah, I want this role. Oh, I can go up. I can go up against the greats. I have no doubt. It took all that. I had to be ready for the opportunity. So yeah.
That's an incredible story. Wow.
I want to keep going with the film here.
Okay,
And
yeah, let's get it.
storytelling as a whole. And I want to shift gears a little bit with race. I want to
Okay.
talk about race specifically in creating spaces for race. And I don't just mean always accessibility. I also mean dialogue and discourse. We find ourselves in numerous educational circles. We've talked about our university, and we've talked about how this is what we're learning at school, and it's so much larger than the textbook, right? It's experiences. I would never have met these guys without school.
Facts. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm blessed and grateful for that. And in the same breath, I'd love to talk about what does different, pigmentation look like on screen? How do we light that?
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have conversations around, well, what does it mean that Sidney Poitier is here, Denzel Washington's here, but what about my brother who's Filipino? I want to have those kinds of conversations around what does access look like, and I guess create those forums in school, in my dialogue on set, and when I'm casting, when I'm thinking, what are the questions I need to be asking when portraying people, not only authentically, but real people.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts around that?
Man, there's so many thoughts. We can
Yes,
have
sir.
we can have
That
an
could be a whole
8-episode
show.
series on
Yeah.
this. I'm not even joking. So I would say this. First off, particularly here in America, there is and you see with the political climate, there is almost DNA. There's a systematic belief in white supremacy. Let's just keep it real. Or at the very least, let's try to narrow it down. Just stories being centered around whiteness. And anything outside of that is like a subgenre it's not equal to. We have to get past that. Because it should be human. You should tell human stories. Now there's nothing wrong. My experience, I have homies that come from the hood that are white, but it's a trailer park. It's a different experience in a trailer park when you talk about the specifics, the overgeneral poverty and struggle and alcoholism and abuse my homie felt. Okay, I saw my mom's boyfriend beat her. Beat that. Okay, I was in crack houses in a whatever. He was in a meth house. It's very similar. So with the stories, if we can start with, I want to tell this human story, then I have no problem getting specific. I think Denzel, when he was doing Fences, he said he was being interviewed, and he's like, "Why do this story has to be told by a black person?" He was like, "It's culture." When he said a hot comb, white people don't need a hot comb. Your hair is straight. But you got thick afro hair. I remember my aunties with the hot comb. I remember burning my damn hand with the hot comb. The smell of burning hair with the hot comb. As an actor, you get to tap into those sensory things. I'm well aware of a lot of my Jewish and brother struggles and the history with the Holocaust and all that stuff. It is different when you're living that, when your grandparents and you hear the stories and you're experiencing this, that, and the third. One of my best friends is from Mexico. So you got the Mexican culture. It's big on family. And it's specifics. It's the same thing. They got the crazy drunk uncle that says inappropriate shit. We got the crazy drunk uncle like, "Uncle, stop. All right? Yo, Uncle Joe, put it down. You had enough, bro." We all got those things. And so if you break it down, I don't mind it being specific, but it's being specific and not put in a subcategory of less than. It's just like, Filipino culture is so specific to Filipino culture. That's the beautiful thing about humans. So I think that's the first thing we got to start with, just with that, looking at a movie like, oh, that's a beautiful movie. No, that's a black movie because they're all black. We don't say that that's a white movie. No, that was a beautiful horror. That was a crazy horror slasher. All black people. That was a black horror slasher. That's the shit. Because in the moment you do that, it's a 100%. You bump it down. It's not the same. So yeah.
I think that's a big part of our story. One of my favorite filmmakers is Spike Lee, and Do the Right Thing is one of my favorite films.
Yeah,
that's my pa, right? Because I know that guy.
Right.
I know Sweet Tick Willie. Like those are my people.
Yeah.
So I grew up listening to Rakim and Talib Kweli and
Talib Kweli, BKMC 718, stand up, stop playing, yo.
Yes, sir. So like consciousness and that sort of mentality, that was my household. And I love those stories and I love those people who tell them, but it's also really hard for me sometimes to not be the intellectual black man in the room who's like all about, honor and gonna down this hill. Because sometimes like I just want to be the guy who loves the film.
100.
I love Nope. I love Tyler Perry. I love those films. But White Christmas has some amazing cinematography.
Right.
Or whatever the film is of the day that has to then be quantified. Christopher Nolan, all that. Like when I'm with my black friends, it's all like, hey, you like the white man? You're serving the white man with your storytelling? Like, no, I'm being me, and that's me as well.
Right.
And I think I struggle sometimes to balance those things where I have to put myself in a box or ratify myself with
You
those.
don't have to, and that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
it's you got to have what I call radical freedom for yourself, and it's for yourself. You don't have to project that on other people. It's just like this is who I am. I want to tell these stories from this perspective. I got a whole story. I don't want to give too much away. It's just my story. We got to do it. But just imagine post-apocalyptic, but instead of Mad Max, it's hip hop and black folks. So we doing something like that. One of my best friends, Stu, he white boy. He white. So I clown him like, Stu, you look like every white dude. Like you are like, but that's my boy. He's an incredible director. He is an incredible visionary. I'm like, yo, that's what I'm gonna direct with. And my partner's, you don't want to get back. I'm like, nah, man, like that's my boy. That's who I want to direct with. When I got other cats, this specific story, because he's heavy in the video games, he's heavy in the post-apocalyptic, he's heavy in the sci-fi. I want somebody who rocks with that. I'm more into the hip hop genre and stuff, which is why I'm doing it. I'm more into the superhero. Like that's what we're doing. So I'm like, I'm linking up with my dude. Other people, no, I need to do that. Like, and I do understand that. People need to understand. Because my wife is from Australia. So here she's white, even though she's Mediterranean, so you can call her off-white. But she comes from a place where she ain't about that. She's dated the whole spectrum and stuff, right? So when she come in, she's like, oh my God, I didn't realize America's so race-centric. Like if you don't come from it, you don't realize how deep that stuff is. Like deep. So 100%. So from her perspective, she's just like, just want to tell stories. She's like, just tell stories and stuff. But being black in America and being kind of a subcategory and made it less than, I do understand a lot of black folks' penchant for taking such extreme ownership of those spaces because it's so little. So when like, oh, why is it, I was reading one of my homies, I had a monologue book and it was black monologues. And they're like, bro, why need to be black monologues and all that? And genuine, not just being honest, like just do it. I'm like, bro, Shakespeare didn't, outside of Othello, Shakespeare didn't write this stuff for me. I can adapt because I'm an artist, but I'm always adapting. So there's like 20 monologues that this playwright, I forgot the dude's name, but he's a brother, that he wrote that centers around black stories, like not having the rent money. It was something, dude got mad because his wife left the iron on and he burnt, and like it's little things, and he just couldn't understand, genuinely, that's my boy. Because of his experience, he couldn't understand why I wanted to learn some monologues centered around blackness outside of, August Wilson and stuff. And it's just like, it's those things, and it comes from a good place. This place was like, no, I just saw that. I'm like, okay, well, who wrote that? Who's white? Do you think he was writing from the black perspective? Of course not, especially not these old ones. It was even worse. So you're not. So you need that space so that you don't have to adapt. Because here in America, particularly, black folks, we're always adapting. We're always adapting. So when we get in a space or we create a space, we don't have to adapt. We don't have to code switch. We can be completely authentic. We become very protective of that, rightfully so. Now, people from the outside are like, oh, you don't have to. It's like you don't understand how few spaces, both in the arts, both in corporate, outside of the black household, where black folks can just walk out and be black and not have to. I'm cool with it, but I have to worry. I play my hip hop. I'm talking about Talib Kweli, Mos Def, all that. I'm bumping my stuff on my R&B when I'm feeling cool, and I'm bumping it. The moment I come up on the car, I turn it down a little bit. Not because I'm afraid of the cops, whatever, but I just don't want whoever's next to me to stereotype me and think I'm like this. And I don't care if you think I'm like this, but I don't want you to associate that with everybody who looks like me. I want to be the best representation for my culture and for my people. So those spaces sometimes we get real protective of. So me, 100%. So it's like people got to understand why you're so protective of that. So until Hollywood and this industry opens up more and makes it more inclusive, we got to protect that because there's so little opportunities to be able to be free in who we are. You know what I mean?
What is progress look like in that? Like, how can we create spaces to have those conversations openly in a way where people aren't afraid to talk about it?
I think it's too wrong. First off, okay, I'm gonna try to be as fair as possible. I'm gonna start with black folks. One thing we do gotta be a little more gracious and allowing other people to take a peek into our world. Because, like I said, we are protective of those spaces. But at the same time, I feel like I can't be mad at you or like my friend about not understanding why I need black monologues if I never let you into that world. And I'm not gonna hold your hand. I don't need to educate you, but just let you just like, yo, come here. I'm gonna tell you why. Come to the barbecue. The barbecue's different. You got the hot dogs, you got the burgers. Y'all might have a steak. Come over here. Try one of these hot links, bro. Try one of these hot wings, bro. Get this rib. It ain't burnt. No, that's how we do it. It's a little crispy. Understand that. Come sit at the table with the uncles and the dads and watch us play dominoes. Let's talk about the dialogue. Go to the black barbershop. Just invite you in to see, like, oh, okay. That's a little different. Like I'm starting to get it. So it's inviting to just take part of the culture, to understand it. Like, you don't have to fully understand it, but you just like, oh, okay. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand. I'm a big advocate for the LGBTQ plus community. I'm a straight heterosexual male. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to understand. I'm willing to be in spaces. A couple of my homies who are homosexual, I don't want to do that stuff. I'm cool. Let's go. What's up? Let's talk. Talk to me. Let's ask these questions that might be awkward or whatever, because I don't understand. I got a couple trans friends. I don't understand what's the trans thing. Having these conversations, like, I'm coming from a good place. I'm coming from a place to learn, not to justify my already assumptions and stuff. So I think the biggest thing is just allowing, on black part or any other side of the coin, allow people to come in. Then on the flip side, having these conversations, people got to speak up. So like y'all, when y'all see what's going on in the world, I'm not saying people got to protest and put all yourself in danger, but if you see something, say something. You can't stay silent. Somebody did a poem and it was so beautiful. She was just like, these are to my white friends I grew up with. We played with each other. We had sleepovers with each other. We played on the sports, went to high school, My first boyfriend was white, and stuff. But then we got into corporate America, and when we grew up, y'all weren't there for us. The housing inequality, not speaking up in the workplace. You say you got our back, but when it comes time to get our back, do you have our back? So it also has to be that those conversations, you have to be an advocate for that. I'm a big advocate for women. I'm a big advocate for the LGBTQ plus community because I know I have certain privileges in certain aspects that they don't. So when I see something, I'm gonna speak up about it. And I think that's the big thing. It has nothing to do with me. My life is gonna go on, but I can't say I'm a man of God. I can't say I want to make the world a better place. And when I see the world being made a worse place, I keep my mouth shut. So it's just like, you got to put your money where your mouth is. If you really want to have these conversations in these spaces, you got to do it. And there's a way. I'm a pretty combative person, and I'm pretty outspoken. Not everybody is that style. There's different ways. I got a homie who never speaks out, but is donating to all these causes, doing all these things. So however you do it. But if you see something, you see what's going on in the world, you know intrinsically this stuff is messed up, and you don't say nothing, it's just all talk, no action then.
I think a good final question is kind of, I know there's always NDAs and stuff, but do you want to speak at all as to kind of what the future you're trying to build is? What's the platform you're trying to create? What ambitions do you have for the future? And what does that look like? What does the next 10 years look like for Monti Washington?
You know what? I'm in a weird space because I'm a dad, so the next 10 years, right now I'm focusing on the next 5 years. So I've been on a hot streak with acting. I've been able to make over 6 figures, be a series regular since 2019. Consistent. I went from one show to another.
That's amazing.
It is amazing, but it's also very unusual. I know, first off, I don't know many of my acting friends who were a series regular. And then a few, I don't know how many got a season, more than one season. And then I know even less who got 2 seasons. So to be doing this stuff for 6, 7 seasons, it's unusual. And I'm blessed. So I have to map out the next 5 years. I'm like, I just made enough money to like keep me afloat if I got no more money for the next 3 years. What does the next 5 years look like? Right now, my kids are about to be 2. So until they're 5, we can move, we can do some stuff. But once they get 5, 6, once they need to go into kindergarten and stuff, it's like I gotta figure out what that is. So right now, my entire focus is I need to set this up for my family. And then as I'm doing this, because I'm actually looking thinking about moving down here to Atlanta, getting a spot. I do a lot of my speaking's always on this side. It's on the East Coast. It's in the South. Why not do it? All the acting's over here. All my acting's here or New York anyway, so let's do it. And so my next 5 years, all family. Next 10 years, I'm working on building a platform. I got my Hear Him Out podcast that, I'm doing some stuff with. I'm stepping into producing. So right now we're trying to get funded this show called Black Men, Black Men. Think about Atlanta meets Black Mirror. So I'm one of the producers in that. One of my dudes I used to hoop with who got into the industry. He wrote and he's directing, so I'm acting and produced that. And then also a movie that takes place in like 1970 Mississippi. It's about a young lady who's owning a house. Obviously post-slavery, but mom worked for it. That's her dad. Mom slept with the work, and she's trying to get what she has. It's an incredible story. One of my good friends, Shim Bitterman, wrote and directed. So I'm stepping into producing role. So I want to, a lot like my dude Tyler Perry. I'm doing a show. Shout out to TP. I want to create a table for other people to come. Like, I love doing what I do. I'm an actor. I love it. I want to do it until I can't no more. That's my passion. But also stepping into producing, stepping into the directing. I'm a natural teacher, like 100%. So the directing, setting the table up for somebody else to be great, because I see that. My gift is seeing that in other people and being like, I know how to place people. I'm really good at that. Like, okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. Because I'm great at what I do. But what I do 3 things amazing. Outside of that, I'm going to grab other people. I'm like, yo, let's go. I see your talent. I see your gifts. I see your abilities. I'm going to put you here. I'm going to place you here. Oh, you go good with that. And so jumping into that producer ad. So for me, I want to be a major producer. I want to give people opportunities. I want to be the person to give people opportunities and encourage them to give other people opportunities. Kind of just have this domino effect. Because especially in this industry, because it's so hard, because the landscape changed, it's a very scarcity mindset. So a lot of people I'm just going to do what I got to do. No, I want to expand. I want to use my platform. I want to use whatever I can, give other people opportunities, especially good people who deserve it, who don't quit, who bust their ass, who maybe didn't have the opportunities. So, like, that's the loose thing. I got to form that out better because I'm in daddy mode. So it's like having twin toddlers, like, I'm 2 years in, I'm just now finding my rhythm. I'm just now figuring out how can I get work done and be a good dad. So I'm just now finding that rhythm. So the next 5 years, it's very family-centric. But next 5 to 10 years, oh yeah, I want to produce several movies. I want to be in a lot more. I love it. I love acting. I ain't gonna shy away from that. Like, I want to be in some major movies, some roles. I want to shoot something in New York. I want to go across seas. Like, I want to do this the rest of my life. So that's my focus. But in the process, I want to elevate other people as well. Oh yeah.
I think that's the perfect ending, and I want to just express our gratitude because you inspired us. And I remember, welcome week, first week of college, freshman year, I was nervous. I was with this guy. He was my roommate, and I tried not to show it. Right. But then there was a black man on stage who said it's okay. Yeah. And that was you, sir. And I thank you for that because you inspired us. You propelled us. This whole world we're trying to create, it's built on people like you. So
it's all love.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm glad we could do this. This is dope. I wake up early in the morning for y'all.
And I hope you know how grateful we are. It truly means the world.
It's worth it, man. I'm so glad that we had to do this in person. It's so much better. So yeah, man.